First up, we've got the Atkins diet, and right off the bat, it's one of the more complex, but it can be summarized as a drastic initial carbohydrate reduction into a gradual carb reintroduction. It takes place in phases. The first, the induction phase, is similar to the keto diet, reducing carbs so much that it makes your body burn fat for energy. Then, depending on your progress, you slowly get more flexible with your carbs until you can maintain your goal weight. At first, many foods are cut out. Sugars, starches, grains, most fruits, most dairies, most legumes, and some nuts and seeds. And then the less carb-dense foods get re-added first, like nuts and berries. So you'll see a lot of common foods on the first 3 phases of the Atkins diet: lean and fatty meat, lean and fatty seafood, eggs, cheese, olive, avocado, coconut, fattier nuts and seeds, and non-starchy vegetables like leafy greens and peppers. As far as nutrient capacity goes, carbs are the least essential nutrient to consume to get by, and most every nutrient is accessible from low-carb foods. Fiber from veggies, vitamins from meats and greens, and essential fat from fish and certain plants. There may be a bit of a struggle with certain minerals like calcium, magnesium, and potassium, but as long as you're intentional with your food choices beyond calories in the first couple phases, nutrient deficiency should be easy to avoid. For nutrients on the Atkins diet, I'm going to give 4 stars out of 5. For maintainability, while the second and third phases have no definitive time limits, the phases get progressively easier to maintain as they go along. With just a bit of discipline early, you should be able to mentally rewire to appreciate the increasing options without losing control. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 here too. For weight loss, by design you'll be cutting out most of the culprits that hold back people's weight loss endeavors and then slowly reintroducing them at your own pace. In theory, it's a pretty perfect elimination style diet for long-term fat loss and maintenance, but in practice it's often a bit too much freedom and many people relapse. I'm thinking 3.5 stars. For exercise, the carb cutting in the early phases may make higher intensity exercise more difficult. Trying to do so without the most accessible fuel source can be fatiguing, and it'll likely hinder exercise effectiveness. But once the body readily burns fat as a fuel source, it can be great for lower intensity exercise. And once carbs get reintroduced, it becomes a much more viable option. I'm again thinking 3.5 stars.